Alright guys, here we go. Updated ST tier list. Best modules CN 3.1 patch. This time we'll be separating things properly. List 1, how strong each ST is overall. List 2, today focus, best modules to produce for your top pilots. And just to be clear, this is not the guide. Don't treat this like a gospel. Every tier list should be taken with a grain of salt. Playstyle differ, investments matter. Your account may value different modules. Today, we are focusing on the best modules up to CN 3.1 patch. We'll split them into 3 categories. Best for DPS pilots, best for mechanists, and best for guardians. If you are not familiar with all modules or ST option yet, don't worry, after or during the video, check the updated full list up to 3.1 patch and decide what fits your roster best. Okay, let's go. Recently on CN we got the new pilot NST, and these new modules instantly become one of my favorite. Up to 25% additional buff, total of 35. And the important part, that 25 count as a separate buff instance, which is important for the best trigger accessory in the game. To reach the maximum buff, we need to move 10 tiles in total in turn 1. This is not good for tactician and not good for certain raiders, as they don't want to move to trigger re-attack. These modules will be insanely good for snipers and melee pilots. Move, re-attack, and you are max stacks. The buff lasts 2 turns, so once you reach max stacks, it's very easy to maintain. Only 5 tiles next each turn. It's definitely not ideal for slower pilots like tactician, but for most snipers and melee fighters, they will hit max stacks on the turn 1 without any issue. Just use your full movement, re-attack, reposition, and you are already at maximum buff. It's also excellent for pilots like Marcus, Matilda, or heavy units like Dean. Basically anyone who can move and trigger re-attack. What makes this module so strong? No enemy condition, no HP requirement, and no need to destroy targets. The only requirement is to move, and the buff applies to both code skill and active skill, which makes even more flexible. For mobility base pilots, this is must on my list. Next up is Shadow Rabbit from Fregata ST. This one should be arriving soon on the global. Important note, this ST is not currently listed on the roadmap. The reason is likely timing. There is a strong chance this ST arrives before Rosa Judgment, so whether you pull on release is completely up to you. Where free-to-play can wait and have 2 sets for free from the dispatch mission, because this ST is not limited. It will have run, RP events and will go to dispatch mission. Although it's worth to pull on release, but only if you save a lot and can afford pulls before Rosa Judgment. So, how do Shadow Rabbit modules actually work, and why are they so strong? For every buff you gain, your damage increase up to 30%. Now, here is the important part. It's not based on how many buffs you currently have. It's based on how many buffs you gain. That's the huge difference, and honestly, it makes the module even better. Let's take example with Kelly with support. You can instantly generate multiply stacks depending on how many buffs you apply. In some cases, you can even reach max stacks without even moving. Now, let's look at the situation without support. Starting from 0 stack, Kelly use rollout skill, gains enhanced shot, that's 1 stack. In this situation, she already has multiply buff types active, which synergize well with the best trigger accessories in the game. and allow trigger accessories in the first attack. But for this showcase, we don't have any accessories. First attack happens, gain 2 more stacks, one from her signature weapon and one from Rex modules. Reload skill again adds another stack. After 2 attacks, you already add max stacks. And remember, this was done without using trigger accessory. Every time your pilot gain a buff, you gain a stack. That means every turn, every re-attack, every buff from support pilots, every weapon accessory trigger, every module effect, every weapon passive, every neural drives, every talent passive, whatever buff is gained, you gain stack. And here is the best part. If you refresh or reapply a buff you already have, that's another stack. Some pilot can reach max stacks in just one attack. Some can gain 2 free stacks without even moving. It works on any pilot. The only difference is how fast they ramp. With the right combination of talent, weapons, ST, modules, passive. Why is so strong? No enemy side condition. Works on both code skill and active skill. It's flexible and extremely easy to activate, and this module works on basically any pilot. Some reach max stacks faster, some ramp slightly slower. But because of how many buff sources exist in the game, this ends up being one of the best early game DPS modules. Next, revelation from Smith ST. As a reminder, this is the module tier list, so we need to put a revelation on list anyway. But what I mean, this ST not only has OP modules, but also has OP rainbow set. So we won't be producing these modules. If in the future we'll get the stronger Mechanist ST option, this module will be absolutely be considered among the best. After performing one repair skill, apply a powerful buff. The next skill used by that pilot cost -1 AP. Thanks to the Rainbow ST interaction, we can use the repair skill twice, which means we can apply the -1 AP buff to 2 different pilots in turn 1. Very strong and T0 on the list. Next, Hasteraze from Ada ST. Very strong modules, 35% buff straight away, turn 1 and in the first attack. But with condition, since we need to keep destroying targets to keep this max buff active. Very strong option for rush strategies and for stages where we have a lot of enemies. But because it has condition to destroy the target, it's not T0. And not every pilot can secure kills on demand. Still, one of the best module option for melee DPS, snipers, pilots who have no problem finishing targets. Next, Malthus and Mithril. You should be familiar with these modules. Surprisingly, they are still popular and one of the best modules to use. These buffs are up to 30%, but they work as a separate buffs, and some pilot can trigger all buffs in just one attack. Remember Shadow Rabbit? If Eileen or Mary will AoE 5 targets, for every buff you gain from Malthus, it will trigger a buff from Shadow Rabbit also. This means Shadow Rabbit can be better than Mithril for this combo. If we attack 5 targets, the buff is before combat, and the Shadow Rabbit will also trigger before combat. And you have 60% damage buff before attack. And we don't need Rainbow Malthus, since there is no need to apply the buff. But most DPS will use Shadow Rabbit modules, so not good for Mary, for example, if you want transfer buffs for that DPS pilot. I hope you see the potential. Malthus modules can be used for DPS pilot like Fia, Rosemary, Cicero, Asuka, all AoE pilots. There will be some stages that will be a lot of enemies, and even William, you can AoE once per 2 turns, and that will give you max buff if you AoE 5 targets, and Mithril for Fia, Rosa Judgment, Mary plus Malthus for transfer buff. Can also combo with ST who apply the buffs or passive that apply the buffs. Next, Snowyowl, which will be the best modules to use for Revelation ST. Buff will also trigger for AoE repair skill, and we can go up to 25%, which could potentially unlock some combos, and your DPS pilot could replace the damage buff reaction accessory and replace for more increased damage reaction accessories. Now T1 list. Some modules can reach up to 35, but if they have condition or are hard to maintain, they don't make a top tier. What about Ouroboros? Works on active skill and code skill. Can maintain 30% damage on the first attack. The downside, it's melee only and enemy HP dependent. If the highest HP target changes, you can lose around 12% damage. That's why I place Ouroboros around T0.5 T1. I think that's fair position. Rex is nice, but need to warm up before triggering all buff, and doesn't work well for raiders, where Dread Talon can work for everyone who enter combat, and can reach max buff in the first attack. Don't take me wrong, Rex technically is better for long fights, but it's less universal. And Rex count as a separate buff, which is important for some weapon accessories combo and pilot's talent or passives. T1.5. These are solid modules that mostly give around 20% damage buff. No enemy condition for activation. Very consistent and easy to use. The exception is Ignite, which can reach 25, but it has distance requirements to trigger. From T2 to T3, some of these modules are very strong, but the main issue is limited pilot usability. Example, Matilda ST can reach up to 35%, but requires 6 AP per turn to hit max buff. Not every pilot can sustain that. B1 triggers only via link attacks, lock to raiders, and most raiders have only 2 links attack, making it hard to maintain max buff every turn. Monarchy Audrey ST, 20% damage and 20% crit, but sniper only, plus not all snipers focus on AoE or multiply hits in the single attack, limiting effectiveness. Final thoughts. Some of these modules can be useful, some more situational, and some less impactful. It's really up to you whether you decide to produce them. We're talking about T2, T3. We still don't have really strong modules for Guardians. The best option right now seems to be Martyr and EU class. But even these are just average, around 50% damage reduction, and require specific condition. I would focus mainly on T1 modules and above for your best DPS pilots. T1.5 modules are solid option for now, especially if you are waiting to invest in future best modules. They are easy to use and give consistent buff without complicated condition. Hope that helps you decide your plan for future modules. Next video will be ST tier list, but this time how strong each ST is overall. So this will look totally different. Even though Mecharashi is small community, I appreciate every one of you, and thank you guys for watching and all support. That's all from me, catch you on the next video, bye bye!